Ms. Joan Pereira.
Mr. Speaker, may I have your permission to answer question 8 and 9 together in the order paper because they relate to the same matter?
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. The Singapore Food Agency (SFA) and the National Environment Agency (NEA) adopt a science-based approach towards assessing food safety risks and environmental impacts respectively. To ensure food safety, food imported into Singapore is subjected to SFA's surveillance and monitoring regime, which includes radiation surveillance. Food products that fail SFA's inspections and tests will not be allowed for sale. SFA has been closely monitoring food imports, including those from Japan, and our surveillance results have been satisfactory. SFA also keeps abreast of international developments and expert reports from the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, and foreign food safety authorities to augment our surveillance and monitoring regime. NEA assesses that Japan's planned discharge of treated radioactive water from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the sea is unlikely to impact the seawater quality in or around Singapore waters. Since 2019, NEA has been closely monitoring Singapore's waters as part of NEA's environmental baseline radiation monitoring program. The radioactivity measured continues to remain within our natural background levels. SFA and NEA will continue to monitor closely radiation levels in our food imports and our environment respectively.
Ms. Joan Pereira.
Thanks, Speaker. I've got 3 supplementary questions for Minister. I note that NEA operates a network of about 40 ambient radiation monitoring stations in and around Singapore, which provides a daily update on radiation levels. May I ask first if the MSE has any plans to increase the frequency of monitoring to more than once a day, or to include more monitoring stations? Second question, for the readings to be made known to the public. And third, does the MSE have any processes presently to monitor the presence of tritium in our environment? Thank you.
Minister Grace Wu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, I couldn't catch hold of second and third point. Made known to public on what, sorry?
Radiation levels.
Okay, yes. And the third?
Any processes presently to monitor the presence of tritium in our environment?
Thank you very much for that question. And I'd like to assure the members here as well as members of public that we do keep a close watch, as I've mentioned earlier, including from the readings from the 40 monitors that Member Joan Pereira has mentioned. And we do include readings on radiation and if necessary, we will make some of these known if we need public to be aware. Because these monitors actually collect many data. So we don't think that it's necessary to highlight one of them unless it is in the public interest to do so. And we have in the past, for example, when it comes to haze, we do highlight certain readings when we think that it's necessary for the public to take action. Otherwise, there will be many data that may inundate public and actually may not cause the desired impact. Having said that, we'll monitor closely. For some indicators, we do intend to increase the number of monitors, but I will just assure member that we will look into the overall requirements of environment protection and assess our capability from time to time.
Mr. Melvin Yong.
Thank you, sir. I thank the Minister for her reply. My supplementary questions relate to food products. I think first I would like to ask if the Singapore Food Agency tests all imported food products coming from high-risk locations where there are potential nuclear contamination issues. And second, what would be the recourse for consumers who suspect that they have bought or consumed a product that contains high radionuclide levels?
Minister Grace Wu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melvin Yong, for the question. We take a risk-based approach when it comes to food safety, and this risk could be many different types of risks. It can be nuclear activities, nuclear active materials. It can be contamination from the environment. We are inundated actually with many different types of risks. So I would not want the members to go away to think that nuclear is the only thing that we are concerned with, or this is an issue that we are concerned right now. As I mentioned earlier in my reply, actually we have been monitoring a whole host of risks, and you can see that SFA from time to time do take action against food items that do not meet our requirements. So this regime will continue, and of course, we will watch the situation with the discharge of Fukushima wastewater carefully. We will also rely on international assessments, and we do exchange data and intelligence with other food safety authorities.
Mr. Gerald Giam.
I thank the Minister for her replies. I note that the Minister said that the discharge of wastewater is unlikely to impact the waters around Singapore. Can I ask the Minister if NEA is monitoring or SFA is monitoring whether the water around the areas where our sources of seafood are, whether that water is being monitored to assess whether or not it will impact Singapore?
Minister.
Of course, we will monitor reports coming from those areas. As we say, we do not have jurisdiction in those areas, so it's really not very realistic for us to expect NEA to be monitoring the quality of waters several thousand miles away from Singapore. Having said that, we do assess the plan that has been put up by the Japanese authority on how they intend to discharge the wastewater. We do watch what IEA is doing, because IEA is obviously monitoring the discharge and also on the lab reports very closely. And more importantly, is that we do take food samples, to manage the risk. So I can assure the member, as well as member of public, that this item is on our agenda, and we will be taking all necessary actions to keep food coming into Singapore safe.